So hi everybody and welcome back. This is Unreal Engine 5 tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 113 and in this video I want to go through the quick start for foliage grass system. I linked this website in the last video. I will link it in this video as well. And we are going through this one. I go a little bit through fast because I hope you made it and you have some basic understandings, but we will extend this this first quick start a little bit, and I will explain some additional things. So let's go through it. First of all, let's go to the website. I will link this website again here down, and we start. We get here this project, open world project, but you don't need this open world project here. And why you don't need this? This is just for getting some very nice quality static meshes or textures, but Unreal Engine 5 got Mega Quick, for example, this Quixel Mega Scan Pack, which you can find here when you go here to the plus sign. Then you go here Quixel Bridge, and then you can start it and then log in with your account, and all that is free. And quick mega scans are photogrammetry materials, which is very high level or low level, depends which resolution you are downloading it. And yeah, there are sections for foliage material, or there are also static meshes. So you can use this one as well, but I followed now exactly this tutorial, and even I downloaded it with my lower spec and it still works. So let's go. I hope you did, after you did this one, you can finish, but like I said, you don't have to download it necessarily. I did it just to follow this tutorial, this quick start exactly, and show you if it's work or not. And let's continue. Then you create a landscape. We have already talked about how to create a landscape. You go here to the landscape mode and then go here to manage, and then make here something new landscape anywhere. Where was it? I don't know. Where was it? Is this here, or landscape, and then here anywhere is new, right? Here you go here to this new and then create this landscape with the settings. But we already talked about this. You can set here different sizes and so on. A little bit, at least the start. After you made this one, then you go down and they added us a noise for it. And let's make this one a little bit bigger here. You see nothing. So what they did is they added here some noise. This one here. And what noise means is just when we go here again to select mode, I already created this landscape here. It means just you have some strange form of your landscape. Let's do this fast so you can see it, what noise means. Here I go to landscape again. I go to sculpt here on the left side, and then I have here some options. We talked about some of these options, and one option here is noise, which means you can change the surface a little bit, and then you follow these instructions. I make it here randomly, and then let's say I click here something. You see now I made also noise. Now it goes down, and yeah, you can make something like that. And control Z, because that was not so good. Let's make this one back. Yeah, you can make something like that, like you think it's cool and so on. We've talked about this. You can, I don't know if this is really cool. Let's go back and continue. I think that's all clear. And if you follow this here, then you will create something similar like I did here, which is this one. Let's go here to select again for a moment. And after you have this landscape, we go down. And they say, okay, you have something like that. Yes, I have similar something like that, and I hope you have something like that as well. Then we go here to the next step. Here we say finish, and interesting is here this one. You have to know this one. This one says the grass system works on a complete flat landscape terrain. I think this one is considered still as a complete flat, even it looks not flat, because it works on this one here. And then let's continue. So I think I missed here something to mention, because it was this one here. Sorry, here on top they said this grass system, which we are going to use here, is only working with the landscape terrain actor. And this is important. What is this landscape terrain actor? We will go into a moment, because later you have options to create. Let's go here to my content drawer, right click. And when you right click here, you have here these options here. And when you go here to foliage, you have here the options actor foliage, landscape grass type, and the static mesh foliage. And this one we will create, this middle one, and this one will work here on this landscape. That they mean it's working only with this, not with this other two. So if you make something like an actor foliage or static foliage, it's not working. All right, this is also done. Let's continue here a little bit. Yeah, let's continue here a little bit. And what we made the next step, they say the grass tool actor creation setup. It means just we create like exactly that what I showed you right now. They say we need this landscape grass type, and how we create them. You go to the, first of all, you would go to your game folder, and then you say, okay, this one should be a foliage type, right? Let's make, the best thing is make a new folder and then write, for example, foliage, so you know. And this one is a base type, that's why I said this one here. And now you can put all your foliage things here. I have nothing here because I made them here in content, but I can drag and drop it later in this foliage folder. And after you have this one, you right click here in this content drawer, or you click this plus sign, add sign here, works also. And then you go here to foliage folder here. And then, like I said, we have 3 options. So interesting is, later I won't point this out, we can make here static mesh foliage or active foliage. Active foliage is very interesting. Here I want to show you something very nice. But let's continue here with our landscape grass type. We click on it, we call it what they called there, and then we continue. And then we open this one up. I don't type it in, I have this already here in the content. So I continue a little bit. And when you open up this foliage level here, let's dock this one here so we are not switching all the time back and forth. So when you open up this one, then it looks like this one. What is here? Here's almost nothing. And here we have this grass. This one is an array. Array means when you click on this plus sign here, it is like a list. It's add element. Right now it has 0 elements. It says here 0 array element. Later you click on it, and then you can add here many more. But right now we start just with 1. So we have now 1 element, and then you can expand this here, and you can read all the properties here, but they will keep most time the same, but still read them later if you want to understand them well. The only thing what we are changing is the static mesh, and we are searching for SM I think was grass field, grass, no, field grass 0, like this one. And I think that's the only thing what you have to add here, and they show this one as well here. And then here they show how you add this, and then they say check these values here. You can follow this one what they checked here, then you can read this. But I think it's by default already, at least on my end was by default, the settings here was set, so like this one here, that's good. If not, just follow here this, and then after you did this one, save this and click here, finish step. We did this one perfect. Here we can save it and we have this one done. So the next thing is what we have to do. We go here, landscape, and they are creating landscape materials. And what they are doing here is actually what we already talked a little bit when I said we can paint on our landscape with different materials. We did something similar, and this one here with foliage is one step further. Instead of just normal materials, they add this foliage material. And let's repeat that what we already know and how we do. Okay, what they do here is just create, first of all, a material. We know how to create a material. Let's create this one also here in this folder. We would call this here a new folder, perhaps material, but still in the folder for foliage, because this is the foliage for material for the foliage. Open that up, right click on it, and material is here on top, right? So click on this material. Now we are creating material. They call it mat. It's a prefix for material. GT is also some prefix, and then grass. Okay, we created this one. We saved that fast, and then we open this one up, and here we have our material. We created, or we talked about a material very briefly. The base notes. That's still enough for this tutorial. And then they say, hey, find here these two textures. There are different ways how you can find it. In my case, we can dock this here. Oops, not here. We can here dock layout. I don't know why this one is not working. Whatever, this nothing else. You can then go here and then type in what you have to find. For example, T alpha patch and TGDT grass. All right, I skipped this section here because then I have too much search. What I do is instead I open my other already created material here anywhere. Here it is grass. No, it's not. That was not the material. Here, this is the material. So first you start getting these textures. And like I said, you can just type here. You go here on content. Here and first you go here on content if you don't know where this is, and then you go here to the search bar and then you write, for example, what they say here, T alpine. Okay, let's write it for demonstration purpose, T alpine, and then you see you have here some different versions. One is diffuse, D stands for diffuse, and D again a diffuse one, and here a normal, and then you can just drag and drop it here, and you see this is one way. There are different ways to get this one, and perhaps you have a better way, I hope. And then you just drag and drop it here, and you make the same for the other one, for the grass and for the rock, and then you have these two nodes here. This one we are going to get in a moment. The next thing is you need to get this landscape blend, this landscape sample and landscape output, and they demonstrate here exactly what you have to do. Here on the right side you can't, it's not open up by default, at least on my end, and you can here just click this one, and then you have here this palettes. Actually I still have here a name, that's why we see nothing. And then you can find this, and if you write here already landscape here on top, then there pops up some options, and then you find what they want, and they say we need a landscape blend, which we had already used, then a landscape layer sample, this is new, and this landscape grass. So these two things is new. Landscape layer blend we had already used, but you made this. And here they say you can go on and find more. So they start with this layer blend, and this layer blend we already talked when we painted on a landscape with materials. And this is the same procedure actually. You click on this layer blend, what you have dragged, and then you go here to the left side of the details panel, and probably you need add here again. When it says arrays, you can add this plus and add two layers. This is the first, this is the second, and then one you call rock, the other you call grass, and then you set this preview weight 1 and 1, and that's exactly what they say what you have to do here. And then you connect this one here, so you connect this this rock one with this rock here, and the grass one with this grass. They are named, so and then you connect this one to the base color. Perfect. And with that said, they go to the next part, which is this. This is new because this other thing here we know from painting on landscape. This is absolute the same thing, but this one is new. We have we start with this grass, node here. And if you click on it, you go to the left side and assign that what we created. So what we created here, that was that what I assigned before this grass field in. So they called it grass. So let's skip this one and go to this one. And they called it grass 00. I add this one here. I kept all these things. That was the thing before what you created. And then you add this one here. Then we have it. And that was for this grass here in top. But then we go down and go to the sample grass here, which is the other samples. You can connect them up, but before you connect them, you can write here this parameter name to grass. Actually, I don't know what this node is doing. So not really, but yeah, sample grass. It is taking the sample grass and it is outputting here with this one. But of course, if you want to understand them more in detail, read these notes more in detail. Right now, we're just following a little bit. So let's continue. And after you have this one, you apply like normal here on top. That takes all this one, save it, and we are finished with this step. And we go to the almost last step, and we are going to use that. What you have to do next is you go to the landscape. You switch here back to the select mode. You are here in your select mode. You can click the landscape, and now it's selected. You can see here I have this gizmo which indicates yes, it's selected. And here on the right side on the outliner, you see it as well. So with that said, what they do is on the next, they apply this created material. This is the material on this landscape. This is just normal after you select it here in details panel. When you go to all, and in details panel all, you scroll down a little bit and you find here landscape. And here it says landscape material, and then you add this created material on it, and this material looks black here, right? Don't worry, that's normal. And when you see your landscape the first time, it will look also black, or later even red or something, another color. So that's normal when you see it first time. And then what they do is after this one, they change again to the landscape. So after you have applied this material, you can just drag and drop it here in. Of course, you can just find it or use this back arrow after you select it here. After that, you go back here to the select menu on top, select landscape. We are back in landscape. I click this content drawer away a little bit so that we see this, what we have. And then what they do is in landscape, they go to paint, and you see this paint version is the same thing what we did with landscape painting. Exactly the same. We have now 2 layers. No, wait a second. I mean, probably you don't have this layers paint. We click paint here on top first, then paint here also. We have here also this paint option, and then you go here to the layers, and you have clicked this plus symbol for both, which creates then a layer info, and then you save this layer info where you wanted it. For example, I already did this and saved this here also in the content. Of course, you should save this later where it makes more sense than what I did here, which makes not really sense. For example, you should save them in, for example, a foliage folder in one folder which belongs all together, or you probably know it better than me. So let's continue. And then if you did this, we are going to use it actually. That's interesting. And they say sometimes this can take time, but very, very important thing to note here. And you think, hey, that's not working. There are different reasons why it's not working. Perhaps one reason is I had, for example, my scalability to work a little bit faster on low. And now what I'm doing is I select this grass here. This is my grass. And I change here perhaps this one to demonstrate full strength. That's not very important. Let's go here. And here is, let's do the full off and let's make this. So this one, you can follow them, how they did it. And we are just applying now this one. And now I have selected here grass, right? And when on my left mouse button, when I click, you can see this grass is applied. And right now, we see only the material is applied, but where is our grass which stands out? And what I mean with grass is, where is this SM static mesh field grass, right? Where is this field grass? It's not popping up. And the reason for that is, careful, it's a strange thing and can irritate many, at least it irritated me. I said, did I something wrong? No, the problem was here, it was scalability here. And scalability means this foliage and so on, they have activated some distance options, optimization and so on. And if you have low, which means you probably don't want to draw them at all. And look what happens when I go here, for example, to high. And now you see they are there. And when I play now, yes, they are indeed there. And that works. But we see another problem here, which I'm not going to solve now. What is that? First of all, let's follow this quick start, finish it. When I make this a little bit bigger here, and now it's populated. When I press shift, then it's automatic, then it's go to the rock automatically. So you don't have to manually here on the left side go back and forth. That would work too. That when you select the rock now it's on the left mouse button. But when you select this one, the grass is now on the left mouse button, but you can press shift and it's going, it's a shortcut to switch it instead of going all time manually here. And you can deactivate it, activate it. But the problem what I want to show you is, for example, let's make this one a little bit bigger so I don't have all time draw too much. Let's make it here. So I have this corner, I started. It looks already better, and if you scale this even higher, scalability, you can see grass and density settings. We have to change this probably too, because it's not that. And we can of course add more things to it. So there are match options, but what I mean, the problem here is, do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? What I mean is, you see this popping up here, right? And there is settings for distance, when it should draw, when it should not draw, when it should, yeah, you understand what I mean, this distance pop up, and that is very, very bad. This is intentionally because they say on a certain distance we don't need to draw all, but during gameplay, when a player can see that it's very bad. So you have to learn a little bit more about this one, how to set up it properly so that the player, when he walks here, he should not see up something popping up or popping off. He should just see it is there, but when he can't see anything, and then on the background it should popping off or popping on, right? That's a big issue, because this is not really doable, but this is the job of a level designer as well. And we are actually finished. That was it, more or less. And with this tutorial you can add, of course you can add more. And here one thing this was one way, of course, to adding that. The other way, which we know, of course, let's continue a little bit. We are finished here, and then they say you can go on and do some more. And in my last video I said you can go even here to procedural foliage tool. This one I'm not going to do right now. Right now I have to talk a little bit about the foliage mode here a little bit, because there are some parts which are very interesting. And Here's the foliage mode. Here's the panels. We talked about it, and that's interesting here. Let's go there. We go here to the top. Now we go into foliage mode, and we talked now a little bit about this foliage mode a little bit more in detail. That was a quick start, so we get get ready, and actually I go here to landscape and deactivate this one here now, because there is perhaps a better way. Not a better way, but another way. So that's okay. This is one way to do it, but there is more optimization. So I go now to the foliage mode, and I talk a little bit fast about the foliage mode a little bit and go over with it, because this is normally the mode where we want. The other one with the landscape, like I said, was a little bit special. And let's go over this one also a little bit fast, because reading you can do, but let's point out some important things. The foliage mode, you can see, has on top here our panels. That's okay. Then we have here the brush size and density. Density is important when we, for example, want to paint something. Let's see, here, no, paint, I have to select something. Yeah, and then the brush size, not the thing. And when you see the density, makes here all how dense you are placing. This is okay. It's very easy. And erase the density. Of course, you can use again shift the left mouse button for pointing, the shift for for deleting the foliage. So that's nice. But before you can do this one, there is an error, because I added here material which I can select. We will talk about it in a moment. Let me go here step by step. So we have here filters. Yes, these filters are interesting. Let's go first. Let's jump to this plus foliage folder here. That's very important. When I click on it, you can see you can select foliage which you have downloaded or self-created or anything like that, or you can create here. Interesting is here you can see this landscape foliage, what we used for the landscape here. It's not included here, right? That's interesting, which means I don't know, perhaps this is not using it, probably. So first of all, we are again here. I go anything like to paint, and here is this add. I can add actor foliage or static mesh foliage, and this is also very important here. These two things here to talk about them, but let's see. Yes, we can add them in a moment, and then mesh here we can assign them. All right, and yes, you can assign them. For example, you probably have here nothing. Let me delete this fast. So I delete now all, and now you press here plus. You say I have something, then you can select it. For example, I have this. These are, you can see I have here some low level foliage, some static meshes, and so on. Or we can get this SM grass. Let me see if I find grass here. Oh, field. It was field grass. Field. Oh no. Let me see. I go here to the content drawer fast. What I want to do is let's find our created not material, our created SM. No, where is this? This one here on top. We have just created this LGS foliage. Okay, this L. I'm blind here. This one, and let's see if I can. LGS foliage. Okay. Let's write LGS foliage in. LGS. No, it's not popping up. So yes, we can see this material is not popping up. Okay, we have indeed created one of these two here. The other ones is not working here. I thought perhaps we can use this here as well. It's not. So anyway, that's not a problem. We are creating one of this one, and you can see I have already created this one. Let's create fast one. Let's go to my foliage folder, and let's create here. Actually, I make here fast a new folder and call this just created created just for this demonstration here. And now I right click it, and now we are creating exactly one of these things here. And how we can create them, let's do this fast. I'm here, I go here to foliage, where is that? And then I can select static mesh foliage or actor foliage. Important here to know is what is the difference about actor foliage, static mesh foliage. The difference is this one is, let's read the tooltip. It says, that's very important, that's why I'm reading this one. Static mesh foliage is a foliage type that will use mesh instances, and it's optimal for non-inactive foliage. Okay, and this one is active foliage, is a foliage type that will place blueprint native actor instances. Although the cost of the painting of foliage is the same as adding actors in a scene. And this too you have to understand. Why? Because this one can, this blueprint we know means we can use now foliage with coding. That's blueprint. So actor foliage can use coding, not necessarily, but can. And static mesh foliage is using static mesh, and they have optimization or advantages, so they are not the same. This one, for example, let me select, create something like here. I created this one. This is the blueprint one. I open this one up. I go here to where I go, actor class. Yes, I select an actor because it's a actor in my case. Spawn. I created BP spawn projectile, and that was what we imported here in our thing. I create this, I save this, and now I created this actor here. Now let's get rid of the other ones here fast. We don't need them. And now I have this spawn. Let's call this foliage. Let's F spawn. It's not the right prefix, but let's call it spawn. All right. And now when I try to spawn this one here in my level, or let's say not spawn, use how I make this. I'm going here to the I'm in foliage mode like before. I'm here in my thing, and I go here down to the foliage. You can like it says here, drop the foliage when you have something. For example, I can drop it here, or you can just find it now. For example, I called it now F spawn, and you can make it this way, and then it pops up here. Here you have to select this one here, and then you can select this, and then you can spawn it. But of course you have, like I said before, you have set this density, then all these things. Important here is this density is a little bit irritating. Why? When I click on this one here, it has here also options, and when we read here a little bit through here, you can set a lot of things, but I'm not going through this one. Important is this one has also a density itself, and this density here on top is a multiplier of the density which you set here for this mesh itself. All right, that's very important perhaps to know. And yes, for example, we have here 10, and if I have here, let's say 1, then you are using exactly the density what is set up here in this mesh here. Let's do it, and you see I have spawned now my spawner here. And if you remember, my spawner is a projectile spawner, this blue balls, and when I start this one, look what happens. I created like a spawning file. And why is this cool? I want to show you this one actually, it's really cool. And why is this cool actually? Let's make it, let me show you this one. Because normally they are not using it. Let's make it a little bit more. Let's make a spawn multiplier here. Yeah, that's cool. Now I created here a file, a gameplay. This is cool because it's usable for gameplay. And now I created here a file for gameplay just by using foliage. And this is not the normal use, because most time when you see foliage on, I don't know, like in this quick start, they say it's used for landscape and creating for designers. But here we are doing gameplay mechanics implementing with foliage. It's really cool. And many forget about this one. That's also interesting. That's why I showed this one here. You can use it for other purposes. But here is the downside. Like I said before, these actors here, there are many now, they are treated each individual. But when I have now, let me show you this one, because this is very important. That's why I make this other one here. When I go again here to my foliage folder, right click it, foliage, and now I go to the static mesh foliage. Let's create one as static mesh, I don't know, foliage. Let's start with foliage, F, static mesh, I don't know, and let's call it flower, something like that. And then when I open this one up, and you see it looks similar like before. I dock it on top if I can. Wrong place here. And then I add just this one, and then you have, of course, can change all the other things here. Let's find this time a flower or something like that. Of course, you can check what you have downloaded. And what I want to show you is actually, let's take this one, what this is, Walkmuth. And then, like before, if you want to use it, you can drag and drop it here, or you can find it here, works both. Let's do it. So I add it here. No, it's not coming. Why not? Let me see. Also, that was the wrong one. This one I wanted to add. So you can see now it's here, and we have this one. That's cool. And what I can do now is here, I can deselect this one and select this one. And let's say I add them here too. Now I have this strange grass. And yeah, now what is the difference about this actor? And here are something wrong. Here is something real strange. Perhaps some settings wrong of this one. Could be, I'm not sure. Some places work, some places works not. Anyway, that's another thing, not right now. What I wanted to tell you is actually, well, let's go rid of all the other ones here. Let's make this one here 0.5 just to see a multiplier. Go here. Let's see if this starts. Yeah, this one is probably a wrong setting there. That's not important right now. Important is now, let's get rid of this one, I think. Yeah, let's go back and let me explain what important is. This was a, here, let's go here to this. This was a static mesh foliage, and this was a actor foliage. And if you have this kind of static mesh foliage, I get rid of this one and add a normal one, which is just one of this one here. And I add this one now. This is a low poly one. This looks not so good. And when I make this one here, you see, I added now many here. And now I have many of this low poly grass things here, right? And the problem is this number here. Can you see it? It says here 7,200 hectares. And if you see a number like that, you get really a shock normally, because this means the performance will really go down. And yes, but the good thing is about this, or let's say not the good thing, but behind the scene, this static mesh, let's see, this one, static mesh foliages are treated like they are collected together, and then they are drawn as one instance. What I mean with that, if you have here something like, I don't know, when I put here one time, they collect a bunch of them, and it is just one draw call. Even we have here hundreds of the static meshes around. It is just one draw call. They treated it like a one draw call, which means it takes not much performance. On the other hand, when we have like an actor, which is really where we can code blueprints and other, they are treated not as an collectible, like a collection. You can't use them together. They are treated one by one, which means every little thing what you see here, every number on this side, which is an actor foliage, are 38 draw calls. We can say, let's say they are 38 draw calls. That's not right. I just try to explain it. And this one, even they say here 7,700 or something. They are not 7,000. They are, I don't know, perhaps just 100 draw calls or even less, because they are treated as a collectible set behind the scene, which is optimized for this kind of draw calls. But if you want to understand this more in detail, read this, because that was not the right explanation. But what I wanted to point out with that is, if you are a programmer or if you are a designer, you should know this differentiation, because this will impact the performance of the scene here. That was very important to note. And let me see what is more important here too. We have here the tools. Yes, we have them. You can read this. And here is this brush options. Yes, that's okay. Of course, how you can place them, that you can read. Is just testing, not a big deal here. And let me see, there are some, perhaps there's something interesting. Yes, of course, you can see here something also interesting. You see, you can point, let's make this brush size here a little bit. You see, you can point even foliage on other static meshes, but important is you can only do this when this filter, you should set this filter that it's allowed. For example, here we have filters, static mesh you can use, and now I can even set some grass on this thing here on top. And yeah, and on other foliage you can read this. This is very important, this setting this filter. So you can even use this, yeah, what I made there, and use that one. And let me see what we have here. Filter settings. Read this through, that's interesting. Here, culling setting. This culling setting is also probably, this is this problem with this distance, what I said. This one you have to read through with distance, and when it's pop up, when it's not pop up, right? Because that's the problem with, like I said before, where we had our landscape in a far distance. We have nothing here right now. Yes, but anyway, you have in a far distance, they are popping up or popping not up, and that's, you normally want not something like that. Here it's okay, it's not popping up and so on. That's good. And let me see what's more important here. Yeah, this lightning settings and LOD settings. That's all-time important for designers. Designers probably know this one very good. I'm not a designer, but yeah, let's see, scalability. And I think the other thing you read through, the most important thing is, in my opinion, that of course that you understand this lightning later. Also this one, LOD settings, lightning settings, and this one, this is all how it appears later and so. But at start you should know how to use this a little bit. So go here about the single settings, and then how to select them. That's also very important. This filter is also nice for selecting things. For example, you can select with this lasso tool, and then you can here say, for example, I have click on this one, it will select now also this let's say this actors here. And if I deselect this one and press shift, I can also deselect many things which I don't want. Let's go here to paint, and what I'm doing here. Yeah, I think it's okay. All right. Yes, I have not selected this one. That's why it was not working. Exactly that I mean. Sometimes you can select and deselect, and later. Yeah, that's our optimizations on this one. I'm not going into this one, how you use this properly. Just one more time, this actor here, you can see this actor foliage here, how to create gameplay. This step many forgot, and this is really powerful because it's not just design, it's also creates really nice gameplay mechanics which you can create for, and selecting then this kind of things. Oops, then you should unselect this one, select this one. Then you can select here with a lasso tool this one, and then you can of course change also direction and something like that. That's also possible. And yeah, I think I talked much about this. And here is also much to talk. If you are a designer or you want to make your own level, then dive into this one. It's absolute cool, I think. Has much to offer, much to learn. And yeah, I think I talked much here, covered less about because foliage is really big. And the only thing what you should go also is perhaps this procedural foliage tool if you like this, and check these other things also up. So I think I stop here, and if you have any questions like all time or any complaints, then write it in the comments, and good luck and bye.